Lewis Hamilton will finally begin simulator work with Ferrari, marking a significant step in his integration with the Maranello team. This development addresses one of the 7-time world champion's previous weaknesses. With so much at stake and a challenging task ahead to match his teammate Leclerc in terms of driving style, Hamilton may find himself committing to efforts he hadn't pursued with Mercedes. This raises the question of how such changes will affect his tenure at Ferrari. One of the most critical aspects of Hamilton's move to Ferrari is his engagement in simulator work, which is crucial for him to connect with the car he will drive starting in 2025. While Ferrari has scheduled a 1,000-kilometer, 4-day private test session in Barcelona using the Phone 75, the 2022 Challenger, the simulator work offers a more comprehensive understanding of the car. Simulator work has proven invaluable, as evidenced by the praise team principals have given to drivers like Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Buemi for their relentless hours spent identifying the smallest flaws in a car. Hamilton is set to start this process on January 20th, and with the 2025 car expected to differ significantly from the SF24, it's clear that both Hamilton and Leclerc will want to familiarize themselves with the car as quickly as possible. As control tables demonstrated in some studies by labs, the labor assessment takes about 20 minutes, with the car as quickly as possible. Ferrari has already discussed the expected behavior of the new car with the press, and fans are eager for insights from both Hamilton and Leclerc following their simulator sessions. Although no special simulator program is planned for either driver, the overarching goal is evident: to understand every change in the car and ensure that Ferrari takes a significant leap forward compared to its competitors. Leclerc himself has expressed confidence in Ferrari's potential, stating that the next Formula One world champion, whether in the drivers' or constructors' standings, will be a Ferrari. Here's a quote. "The competitiveness of the Project 6177 car will be tested in Bahrain, but these simulator sessions are essential to pushing the boundaries of the new concept and refining any flaws before the first race in Australia. However, it's important to recognize the limitations of simulator runs. For example, Mercedes struggled to predict the porpoising phenomenon using their simulator, demonstrating that strong simulator results don't necessarily guarantee real-world success. Still, positive simulator outcomes would indicate progress, even if Ferrari must remain cautious." It's worth noting that Hamilton has not traditionally been a fan of simulator work. At Mercedes, he only used the simulator during particularly desperate moments, such as when the team attempted to optimize their zero-pod design. When those efforts failed to produce results, and the team remained committed to the concept regardless, Hamilton's dissatisfaction grew, eventually leading to his departure from Mercedes. The following year, it's a little bit awkward. This shift in Hamilton's approach, however, could intensify the rivalry between him and Leclerc, as both drivers will need to prove to their respective fan bases that they are serious about winning. For Ferrari, this competition between drivers is a welcome challenge. Ferrari's team principal has acknowledged that having two drivers compete for first and second place is far preferable to battling for lower positions. He stated, "I prefer to fight for 1-2 than for 19-20. That is clear, and I think it's also part of the performance. In the last 2 years, I let them race on track, and it was for the benefit of the team, because the emulation we created like this was part of the recovery. When we had tough times, they had huge respect between them, and we had a good moment with Carlos' father and fan, and it was very nice. It's part of the performance of the team, but with a car that is going to have a changed concept and a 99% different philosophy, it's practically a ground zero start for both of the drivers. This might benefit Hamilton a bit more than we might assume. Not that the car is going to be undrivable for Leclerc all of a sudden, but he would have to get used to some changes, which is something he didn't have to do in the past couple of months, to a great extent, as Ferrari has kept themselves to a more traditional approach. Again, it's still a huge unknown as to whether or not the Maranello team will make the needed leap to compete with McLaren and tackle them down. However, what is important is that the confidence in the team is really ecstatic, and that's why situations like the simulator runs are going to boost the energy and morale of the Maranello workers to a really great extent. And yeah, it's all. When talking about this, Lear said, as I said, it's all relative. Everybody within the paddock, there is not one team that is getting worse from one year to the other, but it's how much of a step forward the others have done. So it all really depends on others as well. But on our side, I have zero doubts that we will make a step forward next year, 2025, and the 1 year after that as well. But then I don't know what the others will do. Just one day after testing the car in the simulator, Hamilton will go to Barcelona and complete the TPC rule with the phone 175 from the 21st to the 23rd of January, if the conditions in the Spanish city allow it. This would be the first time that we are going to see a red car with the number 44 on it, which should mark a very iconic period that is yet to come for the Maranello squad. The goal for Hamilton is loud and clear. Make sure that you didn't come to Ferrari to retire and win the record-breaking championship with the team that Michael Schumacher won 5 titles with. While this might be a bitter feeling for many Ferrari fans, it's also something they would cheer for with great dignity, because it would be the first championship since 2007. However, there are many who believe that Hamilton's integration into Ferrari is going to see a lot of obstacles because his feedback to the engineers is an area in which he doesn't really excel. Quite the contrary, Ralf Schumacher made a very bold statement that the 7-time world champion, although an excellent driver, is probably too old for these cars and cannot adapt to the modern era where the cars are getting heavier and harder to drive. Elaborating further, the brother of the other 7-time world champion said Vettel won't really be able to help Hamilton, just as Toto Wolff couldn't this year. Neither of them is responsible for the design of the car. In conclusion, Lewis has to adapt to the driving characteristics of the car and not the other way around. Today, the cars are heavier and slower to drive with less mechanical grip. That means you have to change your driving style, especially in the braking zones. And that is exactly where Lewis lost time to Russell. It was particularly evident in qualifying that Lewis often no longer knew exactly how to brake. And respectively, evidence of the fact that Lewis often no longer knew exactly how to brake. That is why he often had problems hitting the apex. He was used to braking extremely late, but that was no longer possible with the Mercedes. Furthermore, Ralph expressed fears that Hamilton would lose around 3/10ths of a second to his new teammate Lear because he won't be used to the driving style of the Monegasque driver. Of course, this is something that would put a lot of pressure on Hamilton because he will not have a grace period of adapting to the machinery before he starts to deliver results. Everyone in Maranello will want to see him perform at his very best from day one. So that's why Hamilton's work in the simulator is extremely important. With all this in mind, what do you think about Hamilton's simulator work with Ferrari? More importantly, do you think it would give him a much-needed advantage over Lear, who would be eager to prove that he is the next champion of Ferrari and not Hamilton? Let us know in the comments below. If you're interested in the serious trouble that Phone and its drivers have found themselves in, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.